You know, I don't think the fact that Elon Musk gambled hundreds of millions of dollars worth of shareholders' money on Bitcoin got much media attention because that gamble turned out to be a massive loss. So in this video, I'm going to discuss how much money he actually blew on this digital trash and why he should be held accountable for being so damn reckless. At the time of Elon's announcement that Tesla would be using shareholders' money and not their own to buy into the most overpriced load of nothing that is called Bitcoin, the price was trading above $35,000. Well, since then, a bit over a year later, Tesla actually announced that they dumped their Bitcoin holdings for around $19,000 per Bitcoin. So that is a 45% loss, which obviously shows how bad of an investment it was for Tesla. Now, I don't think it's very responsible for a CEO of any company to be using shareholders' money to gamble on cryptocurrencies or any high-risk assets at all for that matter. Not that cryptocurrencies are an asset, they are just an imaginary coin worth less than Monopoly money, because at least with Monopoly money, you get the paper, but with Bitcoin, you get nothing. So Tesla should not be allowed to gamble with shareholders' money, because as we know, that gamble turned out to be a 45% loss worth of money that wasn't even theirs. It was shareholders' money. Now, the shareholders themselves have the right to gamble their money on cryptocurrencies or to speculate on any high-risk technology companies, and if they lose all of their money, then that's on them. Whereas if I were an investor in Tesla, I would expect the money that I've invested to be used to expand the Tesla brand and to be reinvested back into manufacturing more cars. I don't want my money being gambled on Bitcoin. Tesla is a car company, not a cryptocurrency broker. It's absolutely irresponsible to do such a thing, and it should be illegal, because when you put your money into something as stupid as cryptocurrencies, you are basically just gambling, and you are betting that the price will go up and then you can sell those cryptocurrencies that you bought for a profit. That's similar to betting your money on a racehorse. You pick a horse, and if it wins, you make a profit, but if it doesn't win, then you lose, the same way Tesla lost 45% worth of shareholders' money. Now, some may say, well, that's the same as investing your money into growth stocks. Well, that's not true, because when you invest in a risky technology stock, for example, or a company that has never turned a profit, but you believe in that company's business model and you have conviction that that company will be profitable very soon, at least in theory, you are investing your money into a company that produces a product that can be sold, and you can speculate on what the company's net sales and what that company's net earnings will be in the future. But Bitcoin will never produce earnings, because Bitcoin is not a business. It doesn't produce anything. It's a fake coin, but Elon thinks it's a real coin that you can actually touch, similar to a gold coin. This guy is delusional. And after sheepishly buying into the hype and gambling $1.5 billion worth of shareholders' money into Bitcoin when the price was above $35,000, as we know, a bit over a year later, Tesla dumped their Bitcoin holdings for around $19,000 each, which equates to a $650 million loss. How embarrassing. But I get the sense that Elon doesn't care, because it's not his money, it's shareholders' money. And when you watch CNBC, they had non-stop coverage when Elon first became a Bitcoin advocate, and how Tesla's purchase sent the price roaring to its all-time high of $69,000. So every advertisement on the network was a Bitcoin pump, and how Elon is such a genius for investing in Bitcoin. But as we know, the price has since crashed to $19,000. Not that $19,000 is cheap, that is still $19,000 overpriced, because Bitcoin is just an imaginary coin that only exists on the blockchain. But as you would expect, CNBC have now stopped talking about how much of an amazing investment it was for Tesla after their $650 million loss. So now Elon and CNBC are sitting around scratching their heads wondering what went wrong, but of course they still need to keep their Bitcoin whales who sponsor them happy, so they continue to pump Bitcoin up as the best investment of all time. And if you actually pay attention to Elon the way I do, because he provides me with easy material, you've probably noticed that some of the stuff he says on Twitter is just out outright dumb. But because he has a community of dorks who idolize him, he believes in his own hype. So he thinks that he can say and do whatever he wants, like gamble with shareholders' money and not his own. It's hard to know why Elon made such a foolish mistake like buying Bitcoin, because he never really gave a good reason why he used shareholders' money to gamble on this digital trash. Even Bitcoin's biggest clown, Michael Saylor, went through the effort of lying to the shareholders of MicroStrategy, and he told them that he believes Bitcoin is an inflation hedge. Now, we all know that Bitcoin is not an inflation hedge, otherwise it wouldn't be down 70% from its all-time high. And if inflation were a serious concern for Tesla and what impact inflation would have on manufacturing their cars, then Bitcoin would be the last thing that they would buy because it's too risky. What they should do is they should buy gold. Gold is considered to be the #1 inflation hedge, and it is a store of value. Gold is a store of value and a hedge against inflation, as the incompetent government prints more paper notes into existence, causing the price of goods and services to rise, then the price of gold will rise as well. Now, if Tesla were cash heavy and they were worried about the value of their cash holdings losing its purchasing power to inflation, and as inflation rises, causing the price of the raw materials that they use to manufacture their cars rises with inflation, and the purchasing power of their cash holdings is worth less due to the government inflating the money supply, then gold would be the best place to store their money. Because Tesla will be producing cars in the future, and it would be a lot more expensive to stockpile the raw materials that they need to manufacture their cars, such as steel or copper or any of these raw materials that take up a lot of space, not to mention the added cost of storage and handling such large amounts of material. So it would be a lot easier to store gold, and then in the future they can use that gold to purchase all the commodities that they need, because historically the price of gold has risen alongside those same commodities that are used to manufacture cars. So there is a correlation with gold and the base metals that are used in the automobile industry, but there is no correlation with Bitcoin and anything. It's not digital gold, it's not a commodity, it's not software, it's not a technology stock, it's just computer code or a digital token that has no substance and no intrinsic value. Elon went and gambled away shareholders' money hoping that Bitcoin's price would go up, but as we know, that gamble has failed miserably. If you have a gambling problem, Mr. Elon, why don't you go to the casino and use your own money? Don't use shareholders' money. You see, Bitcoin's price could easily crash even further as the price of commodities rise, because Bitcoin has no intrinsic value the way commodities do. And there will always be demand for commodities because they are used in every industry. Using shareholders' money to speculate on the price of anything should not be allowed by an automobile company, but Elon doesn't care, he did it anyway. If individual shareholders wanted to go on a gambling spree, they are free to do so with their own money, or they can seek professional help, and they can entrust their money with mutual fund or hedge fund managers, because these actively managed funds are legally structured in such a way that allows them to speculate with shareholders' money. They have qualified professionals whose everyday job is to research companies that they see value in, and their shareholders have entrusted them to invest their money into these speculative stocks so that the shareholders who invest in their funds don't have to do the research themselves. That's the point of investing in an actively managed fund. But Tesla is an automobile company. They manufacture cars. They are not a mutual fund or a hedge fund, and they should not be allowed to gamble with shareholders' money. What Elon is doing is he is basically telling shareholders that I will do whatever I want with your money because Tesla is my company, not yours. And if you don't like what I'm doing with your money, then go ahead, sell your Tesla stock, because the community of dorks who idolize my every move will keep inflating Tesla's stock price along with my ego. For more videos on all things investing, subscribe to this channel.